Now to my conversation with the journalist Jason and Yeganeh Rezaian. Jason Rezaian this week published a memoir that recounts his 18 months in an Iranian prison. It is titled Prisoner. The airy kitchen of their Washington home is now quiet comfort for Jason and Yeganeh Rezaian, 3 years after Jason's release from an Iranian prison, following 544 days in captivity. Rezaian was the Washington Post Tehran bureau chief when in July 2014, he and Yeganeh were arrested. They were newlyweds, both holding official journalist permits, reauthorized the very day they were detained. You were just about as unlikely a political prisoner as I can think of. Why do you think they chose you?
I think they chose me because I was the best available option. I was an American citizen working for a major American media organization, one of the few based in Iran, few media organizations, the only American, and a dual Iranian national. So they could have their cake and eat it too. You know, treat me as an Iranian citizen, put me through the rigmarole of a judicial process there, and at the same time try and extract concessions from the United States. And I was doing my job. And like any journalist, I had contacts in the US government, the Iranian government, in the Iranian construction of this case against me. The idea was that by doing all of this work and making all of this information gathered on the ground in Iran publicly available to the United States in the Washington Post newspaper, this is a threat to our national security.
It's two different worlds. I mean, they had one understanding of what you were doing, and it was completely different from what was going on.
I think they understood exactly what I was doing. How they interpreted how that could hurt them was their own sort of crazy conclusion jumping.
Of course, it all took place during the negotiations over the Iran nuclear deal. Did you feel you were a pawn in all this?
I mean, I don't like the term pawn. I don't think anybody would, but I do believe that I was taken by the forces in the Iranian regime that captured us to cause problems for those nuclear negotiations.
The Rezaians were held at Tehran's notorious Evin prison. Yeganeh was released after 3 months. Jason would remain in prison for another 15 months. You write so vividly about how terrible it was. I mean, of course, you said you were not tortured, but you were treated horribly. I mean, you were left in a room with a light on all the time. You were pulled in for daily, constant interrogations. How did you get through it?
Well, a year and a half is a long time. And when you are surrounded by the same people, you see the best and the worst that they're capable of in that period of time. I believe as time went on that I built a rapport with some of my interrogators and captors that they let their guards down a little bit. I thought in the moment, you know, better to be as myself as possible in the hopes that I might be able to get a slightly better situation, because you're just trying to survive.
I think I didn't want to be released without Jason. I was resisting to leave the Evin prison because I wanted to make sure if we do leave it together. It was not a sweet, happy moment for me.
How did you deal with the worst of this in terms of, I mean, were there times when you thought he was not going to come home?
I was told many, many times that we won't ever be together, or he will be executed, or at least he will be in prison for 10 years. I contemplated suicide. I just... Interestingly, one day I went to visit him, and I was crying, and I said, I think it was 7 months through his imprisonment, and I said, Jason, I can't do this anymore, and we were meeting behind these windows and talking through phones. He said, we came this far, we can go a little bit longer. And he told me, as soon as we are released, we're gonna go to America. I'm gonna take you to America, and you're gonna be an American. So there's no can't. American can do. So I mean, I always remember his words. It was just funny to me how he had energy to play with words to make me happy. So I think those little kind of things that give you hope.
When they let you know you were going to be released, I don't think they gave you very much advance notice, but how did you feel?
I had no idea about the negotiations that were going on, although my captors talked about it at certain times. You know, there's going to be a prisoner swap. I was incredibly skeptical, angry. You know, it was, if you remember, it was during that period of time when they started admitting, yeah, we know you didn't do anything wrong, you know, but we needed something. We needed something to work with. It was such a huge relief to get on that plane and lift off and leave Iranian airspace, but it was also enormous loss for both of us. So, you know, I'm still, you know, riddled with mixed emotions about the whole thing.
Many people go through this harrowing experiences and they never come back as who they were. Also, after he was released and we finally came to the United States, we were going through two different experiences. For him, it's coming back home. For me, is leaving home, maybe forever.
Can you talk about your feelings about your country, about the people of your country?
Obviously, I'm very proud of being Iranian. I love my country, I love my land. I love my people, I miss my friends, I just miss everything about it. But at the same time, I know I most likely won't be able to go back anytime soon.
I mean, I think about the people that we left behind, friends and family, all the time. I think that's the biggest heartbreak of this whole experience, especially for Yegi, not being able to see her family. And, you know, by no fault of our own. That's the part of this that is so heartbreaking.
So if you each could deliver a message to the leaders of the United States in Iran, what would you say?
I would say in both cases do a better job of trying to figure out what's making the other one tick, because on both sides they're off base. The leaders of Iran should be treating their people much better. Open the doors, let people out of prison, let people flourish, let them live their lives.
Both sides should not take normal people hostage. I mean, play your politics, put people aside.
Jason Rezaian, how do you now think about your role as a journalist? I mean, do you think of yourself as having a particular mission connected to what happened to you? How do you think about your future?
I just went back to work about a year ago, and the role that I'm in has evolved over that time. I'm on the opinion side now. You know, there's a possibility for me to use the platforms available to me to talk about issues relating Iran, and specifically foreign nationals being held there, because I know that story as well as anybody. But also about why it's important to protect press freedoms here at home and around the world. So I'm going to be doing that, you know, as long as I have the opportunity to, as long as I have platforms to do that. I'm not going to stop doing that.
But amid that mission, Jason admits the lasting, bone-deep recollection of those 544 days changed him profoundly.
It still affects me in everything that I do. I was a very carefree person that traveled the world with a backpack and, you know, a one-way ticket for many years. There's none of that anymore. You know, I need to know exactly where I'm going, how I'm getting there, who's going to be there waiting for me, and how I'm coming home. I'm a different person.